Front foot elevated split squat with goblet hold. We're going to be using a goblet hold for our kettlebell, and we are using a variation of a split squat that is the front foot elevated. So what I did was stack two of my wedges on top of each other. You can also use a yoga block. You want to make sure that you do use something that is very stable. For me, I find that the yoga block feels a little bit unstable, so I kind of like this larger platform better. Sometimes in the gym, if they have kind of like gym mats that you can stack on top of each other, or either a step aerobic bench, or just stable. You don't want to use a legitimate bench. That's going to be way too high. Okay, so something about this height right here. Now, what we're doing in a split squat is we are thinking about getting that stacked position between our pelvis and our rib cage, and we want to keep the torso a little more vertical in this variation. We are going to let the shin come forward, so we're going to let that knee come forward over the midfoot, and we are going to aim to go straight down and come straight back up. You're going to hold the kettlebell in that goblet hold position. Remember, we don't want to crunch down with the kettlebell. We want to think about scooping the shoulder blades underneath us, bringing the elbows a little bit forward, and making sure that we can really exhale, feel some great tension from the bottom up in our core, and have a nice strong hold goblet position for the kettlebell. Now from here, we want to think about the front leg is going to be on our step or bench, and then you want to get set up with your back leg. You need the heel up. Don't have the heel down. It will not feel good. So you're gonna have your heel up here, and we want to think about, we're gonna be holding the kettlebell here and making sure that we're not overextended in that back hip, okay? You should not feel a stretch in your hip flexor before you even start. So if you do, reset your position. You're gonna bring your knee underneath your hip, and we're going to think about having kind of 80% of our weight on the front leg and about 20% on the back. So I don't want this front leg really straight like this and you doing all the work with the back leg. We want to think more about that back big toe is kind of pushing us forward, okay? But both legs are still bent. Now from here, what I want you to do is give a tiny rotation of the hips, okay? We want to make sure we're not just kind of really opening up to one side. So we've got both of the hip bones facing forward, and you're going to come down. As you come down, that front knee comes forward a little bit, and that is totally fine. And we want to think about on the way up, I want you to push through your midfoot on the front leg, okay? I want that front quad working. If you feel like you're only getting back quad working, think a little more about the back leg pushing you forward over that front leg. So we're coming down to a depth that feels really good to you. If your knee comes down to the ground, amazing. If you're not quite there yet, that is fine. You meet yourself where you're at. Making sure as you come up, you're pushing through that midfoot, getting a lot of really good front quad. And in the top of the position, I don't want you to stand up and lock both of your knees out, okay? So we just have everything still kind of gently bent in the top. And again, we're looking for that really nice stacked position in the top of each rep with the pelvis underneath the rib cage. You can inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up if you feel like you need a little more support with your breath for your pelvic floor. All right, that is your front foot elevated split squat with goblet hold.